It's 11:47 on a Thursday night. You're sitting at your kitchen table with your phone in one hand and your bank app open in the other. Your paycheck landed 6 days ago, $3,200, just like always. Yet somehow you only have $214 left. You didn't buy anything fancy or go on a trip. You just paid for groceries, bills, and gas. Your chest feels tight because on paper, you are doing everything right. You have a steady job and good benefits. Your boss even called you a valuable team member last month. But your gut knows the truth. You aren't actually building wealth. You are just treading water. I'm Penny, and I want you to know that this isn't a mistake. It is by design. Most Americans are caught in this exact cycle. In fact, a 2023 report from Lending Club found that 60% of adults in the U.S. live paycheck to paycheck, including nearly half of those making over $100,000 a year. Take Marcus, a 31-year-old in Dallas. He earns $58,000 a year, which sounds like plenty. But after the system takes its share for taxes, a $1,250 rent payment, and a $387 car loan, he is left with almost nothing to save. By the time he sees his money, it has already been claimed by banks and landlords. This system is working perfectly. It gives you just enough to stay comfortable, so you never stop to ask why you aren't getting ahead. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to break these golden handcuffs and finally start building something for yourself. What makes this system a work of psychological genius is that it doesn't take your money all at once. If someone walked up and grabbed $2,900 out of Marcus's hand, he would fight back. But the system is smarter than that. Instead, it takes his money in tiny, harmless-looking pieces. It's $190 for insurance on Monday, $387 for a car payment on Friday, and a $14.99 streaming sub that renews quietly on a Tuesday morning. No single charge feels like a disaster. Because of this, your brain never sounds the alarm. Scientists call this fragmentation. It is the most powerful reason why people who make good money still have empty bank accounts. When your wealth disappears in small bites, across different days and different apps, your brain doesn't see the total damage. It only sees the now. It thinks, I can afford $15 today, without realizing that it has already said that 20 times this month. Think about how we talk ourselves into these costs. Your rent doesn't feel like a massive $15,000 bill every year. It just feels like $250 this month. Your car doesn't feel like a $23,000 debt that owns you for the next 5 years. It just feels like $387 this Friday. We see the small, manageable slice, but we ignore the giant weight of the whole pie. This creates a dangerous trick. Marcus has a nice lifestyle. He has the apartment, the car, and the apps, but he has zero wealth. These two things are not the same. A lifestyle is what you show the world. Wealth is what you actually keep for your future. The system wants you to focus on the small daily transactions so you never look up and see the bigger picture. You feel busy and active with your money, but you aren't actually moving forward. You're just running on a treadmill that someone else is powering. To get off, you have to stop looking at what things cost per month and start looking at what they are costing your life. Now here is where it gets darker. While losing money in small pieces is bad, it is actually just the second lock on your door. The first lock snapped shut long before Marcus even got his first paycheck. Like most of us, Marcus was told that a college degree was the only way to have a good life. So, at just 18 years old, before he even knew how to manage a budget, he borrowed $34,000. He bought a piece of paper that allowed him to apply for a job where someone else gets to decide what his time is worth. Once he signed that loan and took that job, a trap activated automatically. He didn't just have a career. He had a debt he was forced to feed every single month. This meant he couldn't quit. He couldn't speak up too much or ask for a huge raise, and he definitely couldn't take a risk on a new business. He was stuck because he owed the system money before he even earned it. According to recent data from the Federal Reserve, Americans now owe over $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. That is, a lot of people who are too afraid to leave their desks. As time went on, Marcus's salary went up. He moved from $42,000 to $51,000 and finally to $58,000. Each time he got a raise, it felt like he could finally breathe. So he did what everyone else does. He moved into a slightly nicer apartment and traded his old car for a newer lease. He felt like he was moving up in the world because his lifestyle was getting better. Experts call this lifestyle inflation, but I call it the second lot closing. Here is the secret. Every time your income grows, the system makes sure your bills grow too. Now, Marcus needs that higher salary just to pay for his new normal. He can't go back to a cheaper apartment because the lease is already signed. He can't lower his car payment because the loan is already set. Every raise feels like a step toward freedom, but it actually just makes the walls of the trap stronger. You aren't getting ahead. You are just building a more expensive cage. Let's fast forward a bit. Marcus finally gets the news he's been waiting for: a $4,000 yearly raise. He's excited. He calls his mom to celebrate because he feels like he's finally winning. He thinks this extra money will be the spark that helps him start saving. But then, life happens. His landlord sends a letter saying the rent is going up by $175 a month. His car needs new brakes, which costs him $620. Then, his company's health insurance plan changes, taking another $40 out of his check every month. By the third month, that big raise is completely gone. Marcus didn't go out and waste it on fancy clothes or dinners. The money was simply absorbed by the world around him. This is not just bad luck for Marcus. It is a core feature of the system. The things that take your money, like rent, insurance, and interest, are tied to the economy. When wages go up, prices almost always follow. This is why you feel like you're running as fast as you can, but the finish line keeps moving further away. The gap between what you make and what you actually keep stays the same. This trap isn't just for people making a modest salary. It's happening to people who earn way more than Marcus. According to a 2023 survey by CNBC, about 36% of Americans making over $100,000 a year say they are still living paycheck to paycheck. Even when people reach six figures, they often find that their bills grew just as fast as their income. You have to realize that a salary increase by itself won't free you. If you aren't careful, a raise just moves the ceiling higher and you naturally move up to hit it. You end up with more responsibilities and more expensive bills, but you don't have any more optionality, which is just a fancy word for having the power to say no. The raise doesn't open the door to the cage. It just gives the cage nicer wallpaper. To truly get ahead, you have to stop focusing on the size of the check and start focusing on how much of it you can keep before the system swallows it whole. So who actually wins in this setup? If Marcus is working hard but staying broke, where is all that effort going? To find the answer, you just have to look at who gets paid first. Your landlord collects $1,250 every single month like clockwork. He doesn't care if you had a bad week at the office or if your car broke down on the highway. His money is guaranteed because you need a place to sleep and you signed a legal contract. To him, you aren't a neighbor. You are a monthly check. Then there is the bank. They collect interest on your student loans, your car note, and that credit card balance you used to fix the brakes. This interest is a machine that never sleeps. While you are in bed at 2 a.m., the math is working against you, adding a few more cents or dollars to what you owe. In 2023, American households paid billions of dollars just in credit card interest alone. That is money that could have been Marcus's retirement, but instead it became the bank's profit. The insurance company is right there too, taking its slice on the first of the month. They take that payment automatically, even if you never get sick or have an accident all year. These big companies don't see you as a person with dreams, a family, or a plan to travel the world. To them, you are recurring revenue. That's just a fancy business term for money they can count on getting every month. But the most important word isn't money. It's predictable. They need you to stay exactly where you are. They need you to keep showing up to that job so you stay comfortable enough to keep paying them, but never wealthy enough to leave. This isn't because these companies are evil or mean. It's just how their business works. But you have to realize that their success depends on you staying stuck. Their goal is to keep you paying, not to help you thrive. Once you understand that your stagnation is someone else's profit, you can stop being a line item on their report and start writing your own. I want you to stop and actually answer a question for me. Don't skip it and don't look away. Be completely honest with yourself. If you quit your job tomorrow, with no warning and no extra pay, how many months could you survive on the money you have right now? If your answer is less than 1 month, I have to be direct with you. You aren't an employee. You are a hostage. If you have 1 to 3 months of cash, you have a very comfortable-looking prison, but it's still a prison. Even if you have more than 6 months, you are in a tiny minority of people, and you still might not be truly free. The numbers are startling. According to the Federal Reserve's latest report on the economic well-being of U.S. households, 37% of Americans could not cover a simple $400 emergency using just their cash. Think about that. We aren't talking about losing a job or a major medical bill. We are talking about $400, the cost of a new tire or a broken microwave. If that small amount requires borrowing money or selling something, you are living on the edge of a cliff. The wildest part is that most of these people would tell you they feel stable. That is because the system has redefined what stability means. We have been trained to believe that having a job is the same thing as having a plan. We are told that a direct deposit every 2 weeks is the same thing as security, and that a benefits package is the same thing as wealth. It is not. Real security is the ability to walk away. Without that, your life is just a very comfortable cage with nice lighting and a retirement account you aren't allowed to touch for another 30 years. You've been given enough to keep you quiet, but not enough to make you independent. It is time to wake up and realize that a paycheck is a tool for your survival, but it is rarely the key to your freedom. You have to stop measuring success by your job title and start measuring it by how much time you actually own. If making more money isn't the magic answer, then what is? Most people spend their whole lives asking the wrong question. They ask, how do I earn more? But the question that actually breaks the system is, why does all my money leave? These are two completely different ways of thinking. The space between those two questions is the difference between having a job and having wealth. To change your future, you need to understand 3 simple rules. First, income is just the money that flows into your hands, but wealth is the money that stays there. Second, a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket every month, like a car loan or a fancy subscription. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, even when you aren't working. Finally, a salary is just a trade of your time for cash, but optionality is having enough resources that you don't have to show up at 9 a.m. just to survive. Look at Marcus again. He has plenty of income flowing in, but he has 0 assets. Every single dollar he earns is already promised to a liability before he even touches it. His rent, his car, and his debt are all standing in line waiting to take their cut. You have to realize that your salary isn't keeping you rich. It's actually keeping you just busy enough so that you don't have the time or energy to become rich. The system wants you to focus on getting a slightly bigger shovel so you can dig a slightly bigger hole. But the real goal is to stop digging entirely. The goal isn't just to earn more money inside a system that is designed to take it back. The goal is to understand how the system works so you can stop being the product. You need to start building or buying things that don't require you to be physically present for them to grow. Whether it's a small side business, a simple index fund, or a new skill, you have to find a way to make money that doesn't depend on your boss's permission. True freedom starts when you stop trying to fix your lifestyle and start fixing your foundation. Now, I want to give you the actual moves to get out. These aren't just motivational tips. They are steps in a specific order because each one makes the next one possible. The first move is to change your mindset. You have to stop looking for comfort. The system uses comfort to keep you quiet and stuck. From now on, I want you to stop asking yourself if you are happy or comfortable. Instead, ask yourself once a month, am I more free than I was 90 days ago? If you have the same bills and the same dependency on your boss, the answer is no. This one question changes how you look at every dollar you spend. The second move is a change in how you act. You need to create a gap between what you earn and what you spend, and you must protect it like your life depends on it. Before any bill or landlord gets a cent of your paycheck, take a small slice, even just 5%, and put it in an account you never touch. This isn't a vacation fund or a rainy day fund. This is seed capital. You cannot plant a garden if you eat all your seeds. You have to keep this money so you have the power to make the next move. That brings us to move number 3. Use that money to buy time, not things. Every dollar you save should eventually be used to buy an asset. This could be an index fund that pays you dividends or a small side project that brings in extra cash without you being there. You aren't looking to get rich overnight. You are looking for your very first working dollar. Once you have $1 that earns money while you sleep, your brain will never be the same. Finally, the fourth move is a psychological unlock. You have to redefine what being ahead looks like. The system wants you to think success is a fancy job title or a bigger house. I want you to think of success as runway. If you have 3 months of expenses saved, you don't just have an emergency fund. You have leverage. 6 months of runway gives you the power to negotiate or look for a better job. 12 months of runway is your first taste of real freedom. Stop chasing a higher salary milestone and start building a longer runway. That is how you stop being a passenger and start becoming the pilot. Here is the most important thing I want you to take away from this video. The people who finally escape this cycle are not always the ones who earned the most money. They aren't necessarily the luckiest people or the ones who found a secret stock that nobody else knew about. They are simply the ones who chose to see the truth. They are the people who looked at their paychecks and asked, wait a minute, where is this money actually going? Who designed this system? And why does working harder never seem to close the gap? That single moment of clarity is your first real act of escape. You cannot build a way out of a trap if you don't even know you are in one. But you've just spent the last few minutes seeing exactly how it works. I want you to try on a new identity today. I want you to own this statement. I am not just someone who earns and spends. I am someone who earns, sees where it goes, and builds something that lasts. This isn't just a feel-good phrase. It is a completely different operating system for your life. When you stop being a passive spender and start being an active builder, the system loses its power over you. If this video felt different than the usual financial advice you hear, that is intentional. My goal here on this channel is to pull back the curtain. We are here to break down the psychology of money and expose the hidden systems that keep you standing still. I want to show you exactly how to beat them so you can win your time back. If you want to keep seeing the world clearly, hit the subscribe button. Next week, we are diving deep into the specific tricks banks use to keep you borrowing money you don't need. We will also walk through the exact order of operations you need to reverse the damage and start winning. The system is counting on you not watching that next video. I'll see you there.